Alright everyone, we start off today with a little bit of an announcement. I yanked the cord out of my computer the other day, and so my USB port is being a little bit wonky. I'm hoping that that doesn't affect my ability to do my job, because that would be a big problem. We've also got to talk about Kamala Harris the Strange, and probably the greatest astroturfing campaign I've ever seen. Right now in the legacy media, if you look at like RCP, they aggregate news or ground news or anything. There's a huge astroturfing campaign behind Kamala Harris. The idea is she's breathed new life into the Democratic Party. She's exciting. She's exotic. She's the it girl, basically. This isn't AstroTurf. It's mostly paid posting that you're seeing. I talked yesterday on my live stream about how there are definitely paid posters on 4chan. There's paid posting going on YouTube, Twitter, etc., elsewhere as well. This is the only thing that they can do. If you can't win on the issues, then you simply create a wall of propaganda with your corporate allies, and you try to fool people into thinking that you're inevitable. That's basically the long and short of it. And that's exactly what the Kamala Harris campaign is currently doing. By the way, if I look or sound tired, I've suffered from insomnia for the last 3 days. I'm having trouble sleeping. It could be due to the lunar cycle. It could be due to the fact that there's a fucking heat wave. I'm not exactly sure, but yes, I am a little bit on the tired side. I will power through it with the power of mushroom pills, vitamins, and caffeine. So don't worry about it too much. But if I seem a little bit under the weather, yeah, I mean, again, like when I traveled before, I haven't had a lot of sleep lately. Neither has Kamala Harris, because she's actually sweating at the moment. She knows that she's behind. The polls that are being released right now are a slurry of push polls. There's also a little bit of a grace period due to the Kasich effect. But you still need to have an actual platform. You still need to actually be able to tell people, here's where I stand on this particular issue. It's not enough to be younger than your opponent. It's not enough to have a flush campaign war chest, which is being, litigated actually before the FEC by the Trump campaign, because it's not entirely clear whether Kamala can actually access the funds that were given to Joe Biden, or whether that's not acceptable. It's not entirely clear for legal reasons. Right now, though, you have a huge astroturfing attempt with regards to Kamala Harris. The basic premise is, and it's actually a stark admission, I'll get to that in a second, the basic concept is that she's exciting and she's likable, which, is completely untrue. Here's the other part. When they talk about Kamala Harris, they're effectively throwing poor Joe under the bus. Because it's like they're comparing him to Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden was boring. Kamala is exciting. Joe Biden's clearly demented and has health problems. Kamala is a spring chicken of, 55 or 60 years old or something like that. She's young by modern political standards. And so they're actually throwing Joe Biden under the bus. Now, as early as today, we should be getting news about who Kamala Harris' running mate is. We're not exactly sure, but that's the scuttlebutt. People lean towards Josh Shapiro. I don't know how wise that is. I personally think that, if I was Kamala, I would choose Mark Kelly. I guarantee that the Obamas, by the way, with the Obama-Clinton Civil War we just saw, which was brief but spectacular, I guarantee that they weighed in, and Barack said, well, if you want our endorsement, you're going to have to choose from this short list. Don't worry, it's people that you were considering anyway, but those others, you can't consider them. If you choose Whitmer, you're sure to lose, for example. So you have to choose from this short list. Apparently it's been winnowed down to Shapiro, Josh Shapiro. He's from Pennsylvania. I think senator, if I remember correctly. Tim Walz, Pete Buttigieg, transport secretary, and then Mark Kelly. Kelly is the smart choice, but it appears that she leans towards Shapiro. I'm not sure how well that will go over. Currently, she does enjoy a boost in Michigan and Minnesota because she's not as sullied by the issue of Israel v. Palestine as Joe Biden has been. If you choose a Jewish running mate, you probably you sully that. The problem is that there are people out there that don't like Jewish people and will react poorly to it. So we're not sure exactly what's going on. We need a lot more polling before we can tell what the fuck is going on. This has been the most unpredictable and odd election cycle that I've ever seen. And, you know, I was big in 2016 as well and weighing in on a daily basis. This makes 2016 look like a normal election. Makes 2020 look like a normal election. Nothing going on right now actually makes any sense at all. So we'll wait to see who Kamala's running mate is. In September, of course, there's a debate. I'm sure that Trump will attend. I'll bravado aside, he wants to debate Kamala Harris. The problem is that what I see is a massive paid-for campaign to try to Astroturf Kamala Harris as being the it girl. Despite the fact that as VP, she was virtually an absentee, never really appeared much in public, didn't really do anything, was sort of like a Dick Cheney, sort of. And that's kind of the role of the VP. The idea is that you're waiting in the wings, just in case something happens to the actual president. The only other real roles that you have are you conduct some diplomacy, and you hold meetings and stuff like that. You conduct diplomacy, and you're the Senate tiebreaker. That's basically what a vice president does. She is the heir apparent, and she will be the nominee. She's already been minted for the DNC. They've decided to hold a digital conference before the DNC for a reason. They don't want any form of dissent whatsoever, which makes sense. They've already had enough of it, and they don't want any more problems. Technically speaking, they're correct. Is it anti-democratic? Yes. Is it strategically wise? Yeah, the Democrats are doing what Democrats typically do and actually employing some sort of political strategy. The exact opposite, by the way, of what Republicans typically do. Although I do admit that Hulk Hogan at the RNC sort of knocked it out. You know, it was pretty good. It was pretty funny. I'm Hulk Hogan. Trump Mania's running wild, brother. We're running wild. By the way, this is my real name, and here's my real grievance with the fucking liberals. That was strategically wise too, which shows you that Trump is running the show as opposed to the old school neocons. They would never think to put on such a performance, by the way. Harris is strange, and that's the other thing I wanted to address. Right now, the term weird is being used, literally in campaign ads, to apply to especially J.D. Vance, but the Trump campaign in general, and people associated with it. It would be wise to counter this by saying Kamala Harris is strange. And she is strange. It is bizarre and strange if a person laughs when you talk about the fact that your administration has just killed 20 children in an orphanage in Yemen, or something like that. It comes off as odd. It's off-putting. I am uncomfortable with the idea of having a commander-in-chief who finds such issues to be very flippant and who laughs at them. I don't think that that's helpful. I think that that's how you get more wars, which probably would please her. That's the whole problem. I think that that would be a good strategy to go with. So we need to counter the astroturfing by doing our own astroturfing effectively. Kamala Harris is strange. Whoever she chooses for VP, I'm sure they'll be strange too, because she wouldn't be able to get along with a normal person. She seems to have trouble in interpersonal relationships in general. She can't even get along with the goddamn Bidens. Scuttlebutt behind the scenes says, Jill Biden fucking hates you. I believe this. I think that that's entirely believable for multiple reasons. That one, though, is not actually Kamala Harris's fault. That's the odd part. That's about all. Peace out.